My name is Erica Walker, and I am doing my second career profile on therapists for LDS Family Services. And obviously, going down the list, the organization you're working for is essentially the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. LDS Family Services has locations throughout the nation as well as throughout the world, but there's over 50 locations nationwide. And the closest one to me is actually in Canada. It's about maybe an hour away. And I talked to my mom's friend Trina. She's a therapist for LDS Family Services. And she said that as far as the workplace environment goes, it's usually very small organizations. You know, each office has about 5 to 8 therapists, and most of the therapists there are part-time. So it's a smaller organization. They have really flexible hours. They schedule clients based on their own availability. It's very family friendly, obviously, because one, you're working for the church, and two, it's a family therapy place. Something else about the working environment, something that's nice is that all of your coworkers will share your beliefs. They only hire members of the church, so bad language and other negative workplace behavior is non-existent, which is really nice, and it's a very cooperative environment from what she says. Another thing about the work environment, though, is that everyone is kind of required to wear missionary standard dress. So women wear skirts and pantyhose and blouses, and men wear shirts and ties, and it's as any employee of the church would. So that's how they do that there. Typical stressors is that there is no 24-hour notice fee. So, people can cancel on you last minute, and if your client doesn't show up, then you don't get paid, which is, that can be frustrating, especially if, if you're a mom and you paid for a babysitter to come watch your kids and your client doesn't show up. And so, essentially you're losing money by hiring your babysitter and driving to your place of work to go do that. So that can be frustrating. Another difficult thing is, working with difficult clients. It's definitely a situation where you have to love what you do, because, they don't pay that much. So, a lot of times you'll be working with people that don't want to be there, or don't feel that they need therapy, or don't believe in it, and so that's hard because you really can't help them unless they want help. Some typical benefits as far as healthcare and retirement and such, only full-time employees, full-time therapists get benefits. So if you are part-time, you do not receive any benefits. Full-time employees will receive health insurance, life insurance, a pension, paid time off, just the basic benefits. But it is important to note that they do not hire very many full-time employees. Most LDS Family Service therapists are part-time. It's very difficult to become part-time or full-time. So that is something to take note of. Common job tasks. You provide counseling services to clients, and it could be families, couples, individuals. You also are consulting with ecclesiastical leaders, mostly bishops. Bishops will call. A lot of times they're the ones that are recommending people to LDS Family Services. So they'll call to check up on how a member in their ward is progressing, and they'll also LDS Family Services will also counsel bishops on how to handle certain situations, and so you'll do a lot of that. And obviously paperwork is something that any therapy job will require. Educational requirements, They do require a master's degree in social work, or marriage and family studies, counseling, psychology, any closely related field, and also an independent practice license. And this is done by state, so it has to be state approved. So wherever you're working, you can't get an independent practice license in Idaho and try to work in Utah. It doesn't work like that. So you have to have the license that is required by your state. And then as far as the education requirements, you can be an adoption counselor with just a bachelor's degree, but that is the only position available with just a bachelor's degree. Everything else requires a master's degree. Their starting salary range is $31 per hour, and experienced salary range is about $80,000 a year, and that's definitely on the high side. People who are getting that kind of money are usually not full-time employees of the church, but they'll do part-time work for LDS Family Services, and then they'll have their own private practice. You can also, for miscellaneous career information, something that's important to note is that you can specialize in certain fields. So you can, obviously you would counsel any range of people, but if people want to specifically talk to someone who specializes in marriage, or someone who specializes in abuse or whatever, you can get your specialty, whatever you really, really like to work with, and that can be your little niche, and people will recommend you for certain cases depending on what they're looking for in terms of therapy. And again, I got my information from my friend Trina, and careers.lds.org. So thanks for watching.